remember me. I'm Niina. I live in Jyväskylä in central Finland with my husband, our 2 kids, and a dog. And this is my YouTube channel where I have talked about my various arts and crafts. But it's been a really, really long time since I last uploaded an episode. This is my dog coming. Thank you, dear. So, yes, I last recorded, let's move him a little. I last recorded in January, I think. And I was saying that I had a super busy, or I'd had a super busy autumn semester, and that I'd have more time in the spring, which I did. Granted, I had more time to knit and, well, mostly knit. So I got finished objects, which I have a load of, but I did not really have time for recording an episode. So now it's summer, getting towards the end of June. Today is June 26th. And yeah, now I hope I will have time to do the last bits of video and record stuff so that I'll be able to compile a very jigsaw puzzle kind of an episode. But I forgot my headphones inside, and I just didn't want to go back and get them. I hope the sound's okay. If it's not, then I'll have to do it again at a later date. But and also a little bit, the sun's over there, and so the lighting is not great, but the wind's from here, so it was better to do it this way for me. Yeah, it is what it is. But yes, so I had didn't have a lot of time for recording. Then there was a couple occasions of COVID-19 on winter vacation, or just before it started. My son got it, not with anything bad, his symptoms were very mild, but no, we weren't going anywhere, and so I didn't have any peace and quiet to record any videos, and the rest of us were fine. And then about a month later, just before Easter, yours truly got the virus. So again, no traveling and no time or peace and quiet for recording anything. And then the last sort of straw was that just at the very end of the spring semester, there was a little incident with my computer, the one that I use to edit my episodes. I don't know how to do it on the phone or on tablet or anything. And yes, we tried to sort of resuscitate it, but didn't happen. So I had to get a new computer, so, which I do right now. I have one at home. So yeah, there's been a lot of different things. I'm not making any promises as to the future, but today, this is what it is. And I'll start putting some old and really old bits of videos where I show my finished objects. I do have something on the go at the moment, but really, I'm not gonna do that now. I have lots to show you without my works in progress. So I have 2 pairs of socks that I'm going to mail today. So I'm just gonna show them to you now, finally. Because I've had first of them ready for quite a while now. So this is the first pair. These are Heidi or Heidi socks by Johanna Lindholm, sorry, Finnish designer, and the pattern is free, available on Ravelry in Finnish and in English. So, and it's made out of sort of Aran weight yarn. The yarn I used here is not Veljestä, which was sort of first recommendation of the designer or in the pattern. This is another yarn, and I'm gonna show you the ball band. So this is House Neulelanka Onni, which is very similar to Veljestä, Novita Veljestä. It has the same 200 meters in 100 grams, 70% wool, 30% polyamide. So the percentage is slightly different, but pretty much the same. And I got it in this gray color. I bought 2 skeins or 2 balls. They're 100 grams each. And this pair weighs 140 grams. I made it a little longer than in the pattern, I think, if I remember correctly. I think I made 1 repeat more of this motif. But anyway, I made it longer because I thought that my niece, who is going to get these socks, will like a sock that is a little bit longer in the leg. I am just a little bit afraid that these are a tad bit too big for her, but I don't think she'll be wearing them in her shoes. So these will be nice and comfy socks to wear inside in the house. So what did I write down? I used my 4.0 millimeter, that's US size 6 DPNs. I knit them one at a time with the DPNs, and the heel, the Eye of Partridge heel with the French heel turn is not in the pattern. The pattern had a simple slip stitch heel and Dutch heel turn, I think. But I thought this would look fancier than the normal slip stitch heel, so that's why I changed it. These are a birthday present for my niece. She had her birthday last week, and we had intended to drive to my sister's on Friday to my niece's birthday party and give these to her, and then continue on to my mom's for Easter. But I got the COVID, so we didn't go anywhere. It was very mild, and I am okay now. My voice is just a little bit, I don't know, croaky or a little bit not right yet, but I'm feeling pretty okay. But that's why I haven't given these away yet, and I had intended to film a little segment with these socks last week, but since I was ill, I didn't. Now I have. But yeah, I'm gonna put them in the mail today. And the other thing that's going to go in the mail is a pair of socks for my mom. She has her birthday next Monday. This is a Friday. She won't have the socks then because of the Finnish postal services, but anyway, she'll have them when the mail gets there. But this is also something that I finished while not being at work because of COVID. This pair is called Käpyset, and it is by NiinaN. I used a very, very different yarn. This is Novita 7 Veljestä, so it's got 200 meters in 100 grams and 75% wool, 25% polyamide, but it's been indie dyed. I bought it from somebody here in Jyväskylä. They had an ad in a Facebook group, and I bought this color and another one from her. It looks like this on a ball, on a very, very messy ball. But I think it works really nicely with this sock pattern. Again, I used 4.0 millimeter DPNs, that's US size 6. And the eye of partridge heel, I think, was in the pattern with the Dutch heel turn. See how it looks because of the stripes in the heel turn. Kind of fun. Yeah, I make this shorter. My mom doesn't like long legs in her socks, so I only made two motifs in the leg. I think the pattern called for 2.5 maybe. I think you started doing the heel flap somewhere in here, where you'd have that much more of the leg, and then you do the heel flap and the heel turn, and then continue doing the motif from there. But I made two full motifs in the leg, and then 2 full motifs in the foot, and then the third one with the decreases. So my mom has a quite small foot. Her foot size or shoe size is European 36. So I'm hoping that these will be a good fit for her. But yeah, so it has this, is it pearl stitch? Here on each side of the sort of the central motif, and I think with with these thin stripes, it looks really, really nice. It looks so much fun. I enjoyed knitting them, and I enjoy the look of them. I don't know if they're too wild for my mom. Well, anyway, they're nice. Sort of. It's spring here now, so I think they're they're a bit like a ray of sunshine, and they're really, really nice because of that, I think. Yeah, about the pattern. So I had bought NiinaN's sock calendar 2016, and this pattern was in there, but you can also buy the pattern individually on Ravelry. It costs for €4, including VAT, I think, or what do I know? So anyway, I checked, and my Ravelry showed that it was for €4 for the pattern, but it's only in Finnish. So, but then again, if you can read charts, because the motif is in church as was in here, didn't have written instructions for the motif. But yeah, if you can read charts then and make a sock, then it's possible to knit the socks even if you don't speak Finnish or understand Finnish. One thing that I forgot to say about this, I made the central motif in here, like mirror images of each other. If I were to make these socks again, and as you know, maybe I rarely knit the same pattern twice, but if I did, I would probably alternate the cross in here, or at least I'd try how it looks. I think I might like the look of it if you had sort of the right part going over and then the left part and then the right and the left. But I'm not sure because I didn't try it, because I thought of it when I had knit quite a few motifs already, and I was like, just whatever. It looks nice like this. Oops, just accidentally kick the tripod or the stool on which I have the tripod. So yeah, so I think it looks fine. It looks nice like this, but I would have liked to try how it looks the other way around. Yeah, but that's the only thing I'd try differently if I made the same pattern again. And my mom's socks weigh 85 grams, so you can make a pair from 100-gram ball if you only have 100 grams like they usually have. This is a sweater that I knit for a friend of ours. The pattern's called Atticus. It is by Heather Pfeiffer, and it is knit bottom up. I used some 5.5 millimeter needles in the ribbing. That's US size 9, and I used a Chinese waitress cast on when I was casting on. And then you knit up. This part was knit with 6.0 millimeter needles, so that's US size 10. This is the swatch I made, and of course it is in the round because the sweater is knit mostly in the round. The ball band says to use needles from 5 to 6 millimeters big size, and I knew that I'd be closer to 6 than 5 with tight knitting that I do. And yes, that's my dog. So actually I tried to mark it which number of needles I was using, so I made these pearls in here. So they're like 5 columns of pearls, and that means that I used the number 5 millimeter needles in here. And for a sock, I think this would be okay, but it's gonna be a shirt, so nope. And this is 5.5, so I have 5 columns of 2, and then 1 in here, so it's like 5.5. and this is better, but still not like loose and soft enough for a shirt. And here I used the 6 millimeter needles. Let me put it differently in my hand. So this is like pretty soft and stretchy. So I decided that yes, this is the size needles that I'm gonna go with. This swatch used quite a bit of yarn, so I'm going to rip it back and use it in the shirt or in another project, but I'm not gonna just keep this as a swatch because it's, you know, like I'd say half a ball of yarn, so too much to put on a swatch. So you knit up, and then you split for the sleeves and the front part of you split the front for the zipper, and then you do some cables
on both sides of the zipper. And so you knit one side, leave the stitches on hold, then you knit the other side, leave the stitches on hold, and then you knit the back with a slightly different cable pattern, and then you do a 3 needle bind off here at the shoulder. And if I'm not badly mistaken, this is just as was in the instructions. So all the cable turns and all that were just the way they were in the instructions. And once you had finished the body, the next thing I did was to knit the collar of the sweater, because I wanted to see how it will look with the sleeves on. I think that's why I finished the collar, and I did a tubular bind off. I can put some links to the Chinese waitress cast on and the tubular bind off at the description box. Yeah, so then I had finished the body, and then you picked up stitches for the sleeves, made some decreases, and finished with a 2x2 rib. And here I used just a normal what's it called, like knit to pass the first one over, purl one, pass the first one over, the sort of in what we in Finland do as a sort of classic bind off, the normal one. And yeah, and then I blocked this, and after blocking, put on the zipper. I'm not 100% happy with the zipper. This part in here looks a little, I don't know, wonky, but maybe once this friend of ours is wearing the shirt, it won't look as wonky. I don't know. Anyway, the yarn that I used, haven't mentioned the yarn yet. This is Borgo de Pazzi, new Cedro yarn. It's 100% wool, as you can see, and it's made in Italy. And the meterage, (100 meters in 50 grams, so 200 meters in 100 grams, and they recommend needles from 5 to 6 millimeters, so that's US size 8 to 10. And I'll have to check. I haven't weighed this. I think I only used just under 10 balls of yarn, which means that this shirt would weigh less than 500 grams. But I'll check, and I'll put it somewhere down or on the screen somewhere. But yeah, so this friend of ours is turning 50 this year, and actually he has his birthday next weekend. So probably will give him this shirt then, and hopefully it'll fit him nicely and he'll like it.
I think I bought this pattern book 5 years ago or something. And I've already made one pair of socks from it. This one, maybe 2 years ago for my niece. But now I needed a pair of socks for myself, and I chose another pattern from this book, and it's called Kandahar. They've used a sort of dark, variegated yarn in this book, but you can find different versions of it on Ravelry, because the pattern can be found from there too, or at least projects can be. I don't remember if you can buy the patterns individually, but anyway, I could find other photos where you could see better what the socks are going to look like. And I had a yarn that I had bought from a craft show this spring, and I knew that the yarn is pretty wild. So it's this Opal yarn, and as you can see, it's very, very colorful. It's a normal fingering weight yarn with 425 meters in 100 grams, and it's got 75% virgin wool, 25% polyamide. I can't find the colorway number, but yeah, very, very colorful. So I knew that I'd want to make a pair of socks with not as many things going on in the pattern, but I'm not a plain vanilla kind of knitter, so I needed to find something different. So this is how they turned out. All knit. Here they are. So as you can see, the leg is a little longer. I think I made it approximately according to the pattern. It's got a few pattern repeats of the motif here in the leg, and I knit these with my 3.0 millimeter needles. That's US size. What is it? 2.5, I guess. I'll correct that on the screen if I remember that wrong. But I started making them 2 at a time on Magic Loop, but because of the patterning, how it goes, like the decreases like go diagonally, it was kind of a pain in the butt to make them on Magic Loop, because you needed to transfer some stitches from the front needle to the back or vice versa. So I didn't want to do that. So I after a while I just started doing them 1 at a time on my DPNs, and they're for myself, as I said. The heel flap is kind of fun because it's got this garter center, so that's a bit of a different thing. And then of course the holes are in here, so that looks, it's not a sort of a standard heel flap. Yeah, so I was saying a 3.0 millimeter needle is a little big, but it's got only 64 stitches, so I thought that I might need more space, but well, it's lace. I didn't think about that, so it's not tight at all. So I think that if I'd used the normal 2.5 millimeter needles that I use with fingering weight. When I knit socks, that would have been okay, but yeah, it's fine like this. I just tried them on last night. I haven't worn them, as you can see, but the fit is, or the sort of the length of the foot is pretty okay. It's not very easily moderatable. It's not easy to moderate the length of the foot because you have a full repeat that you, if you want to get the, or make the toe like this without like continuing in pattern. So, but yeah, they're okay. I haven't weighed them yet, but I can add it on the screen. But yeah, I've been wearing out my socks and now I can start wearing these, which is nice. I have a few very miscellaneous finished objects. Here's just something that I grabbed from my big bag of finished objects that I brought with me. But this looks funny because it's very sunny now, but I finished it quite a while ago. So it's my Musselburgh hat by Isolde Teague. And last time I made a podcast episode, I was about halfway through. I don't have the marker anymore, the stitch marker, but I was at a halfway point, more or less. And I'd actually knit sort of this side of the hat. So the idea, of course, is that it's a tube with two different endings. I'm going to show you the yarn first. So these colorful yarns, these ones are, let's see, I can't see really well the screen, so let's see if it focuses or not, but they are Lang yarns, Mille Colori socks and lace lock superwash yarn, which has 73% virgin wool, 25% polyamide, and 2% polyester, which is the stellina that may or may not show on camera because it's very shiny, but it's a sort of a gold colored stellina. No. Well, I think this one is silver and this one is gold, yeah. But they're very, very difficult to photograph, in my opinion, with my photographing skills. So these are just two different colorways of this yarn that I've used before. And then the mohair, this, okay, the white fingering weight yarn is, where did I put the tag? I just had it in my lap, but now I seem to have, I have misplaced it. It's Novita Venla yarn. Do I have another ball band here now? No, I don't. It's a fingering weight, 75% wool, 25% polyamide yarn. This off-white color, and the mohair at the beginning was Adriafil KidSeta yarn, which is 70% mohair and 30% silk, and it's got 210 meters in 25 grams, which means 840 meters in 100 grams, if my math's right. So that's what I started with, and it's this part of the hat, very like a furry, fluffy kind of mohair. And then the rest of it, or the sort of the latter part of the mohair, it'll probably show more on camera. I think it's something that starts about here. It's a little less hairy, I think. It's this Lang Yarns lace mohair yarn, very soft. Mohair Super Kid silk, and this one has 58% mohair and 42% silk, so it's got more silk than the first one. And yeah, like I said, it's a little less fluffy, and I think in a way this might feel a little rougher on the hand. So how do I know which end is the first one and which one is the last one? This has been knit with a tighter gauge, even though I had all around the same needles for 3.5 millimeter. I was doing it on magic loop with my interchangeable Knit Pro symphonies, or Knit Pro set, or well, I don't have a set, but I have it interchangeable tips and then the cords. So that's US size 4. So I had the same needles all along, but I knit this while I was watching, I think it was the Olympics or the World Championships, skiing, cross-country skiing, and it was closing in on the finish line. So it was very, like, there was a Finn who was either winning or on the second place or something. It was very exciting, or like touch and go in a way, or just was hoping that, oh, I hope nothing goes wrong, I hope nothing goes wrong. And I was watching it while I was knitting, and yeah, it's tighter. So I prefer to, the few times that I used it before it got too warm, I've used it this way around. So the sort of the fluffier fabric out, because this one is also looser. This looks a little, I don't know if it looks at, well, it does look like a little weird, you know. It's got tighter, the crown of the ending is tighter. So, well, I just don't like the shape, so it's fine if I put it inside. Maybe once I wear it more, it'll stretch out and it won't show as much, but this, I prefer this shape of the ending, and because it's a tube, and you can choose which way you want to have in and which way you want to have out. Then yeah, I don't have the white Novita yarn, Venla yarn at all anymore. It ended somewhere around here, and then I just knit the rest of it in these two colors and the mohair, silk mohair yarn. So yeah, and no, I'm not gonna put it on, but first of all, I have my headphones, and second of all, it's way too hot. Don't have any photos of it yet either. I tried to take some with the hat on my head, so like I don't have a selfie stick, so I was just trying to reach out as far as possible, and because I wanted to sort of show the crown for more and have a nice angle. It's impossible if you're not, if you can't see what you're photographing. I tried, I took many photos, and I didn't like any of them. So hopefully I'll get my daughter to pose with the beanie at some point, and then I'm gonna get better photos which will be on Ravelry. But for the moment there are no photos in there because they all just failed. Yeah, that's one of the things that I have here with me. And then maybe I'll talk about this one, the one that I don't have a project anymore. I knit some dishcloths for my sister's, no, not my sister's, my daughter's teachers for school. When the school ended at the very beginning of June, I usually try and give a little bit of something to the teachers. So I just didn't have a lot of time and have very few ideas. So I just knit a few dishcloths, and I had purchased a bamboo yarn a while ago, and I made a few dishcloths, and I have a picture somewhere. But I used these two yarns, so they're both I think this is Turkish Alize yarn, bamboo fine. This one has words batik design because of the coloring. So they both have 440 meters in 100 grams, and made in Turkey, and it's 100% bamboo. I'll check, yes, 100% bamboo, this one also. But yeah, so their dishcloths, I use the pattern Dainty Dishcloth, which was a free pattern that I found on Ravelry, or the pattern I believe was on a separate site. But yeah, I was following a free of charge pattern. When I crocheted these, the pattern called for a thicker yarn. I don't remember which, but it was very easy to just decide which size was good in this yarn, and then just use the pattern with a different weight of yarn. So it's by Willow Yarns design team, so it's a yarn company that has released the pattern. I used a 3.0 millimeter hook. I couldn't find a letter for that size, so in the sort of letter system of sizes, but 3.0 millimeter. And yeah, easy to modify the pattern, even though I had a lighter weight yarn. And I think they were pretty nice, and sort of mindless crocheting once you sort of got into the rhythm, because the motif was very, like, you repeated the same thing all over and over again. So it was fun and easy, and was watching podcasts while I was crocheting them, so that was nice. And then a very old thing that I finished a while ago. Where do I have my notes here? Oh, there are a pair of mittens. Oh yes, appropriate for the weather. Another weather appropriate pattern, but I finally finished these. Ta-da! This is also a project that's been going on and on and on for a long time. It's my double knitted mittens, which I made without any pattern, I just wanted to try double knitting with a single yarn rib. So I just started with a number of stitches and made this 2x2 rib. And once I got, well, long enough, this is really not long enough. I should have made it longer, but I got bored. But yes, so after I had finished, I had decided that my rib was long enough. I picked up some stitches for the sort of second layer of stitches, and then I knit the whole thing double. So it's more or less reversible, although I just didn't want to rack my brains with the decreases. So actually the tip of the mitten doesn't look the same both sides out, let's say. So this is what was inside of my knitting when I was making them. But yeah, I think I made some notes. I'm not sure if they're on Ravelry yet, but they're here. I took some video clips when I was knitting them, but let's see if I can compile them into a sort of a tutorial or something. It'll be very long and boring, but I had to change cameras or phones, which I use to record, and my old one didn't break, but it just the battery was just so inefficient, because it was an old phone that I decided to get a new one. And I should be able to get the videos out. I actually had stored them on my computer, but I think I will have mentioned it at the beginning that there was a mishap with my computer, and that's not functioning anymore. So, but yeah, that's what I did with the mittens. 2.5 millimeter needles, so that's US size 1.5 is what I used. These are fingering weight yarns, but of course, because it's a double layer, they're very, very warm. Yes, and this is one of the yarns. I don't have a tag anymore. This is how much I have left of the yellow yarn, of orange, more orange. It is, I made a pair of socks out of this before. I do have the tag here. This is it. Borgo della Pazzi. Borgo de Pazzi. Bice yarn. They're both normal fingering weight. Sock yarns, I think they both have 75% superwash wool, 25% polyamide, and about 420 meters in 100 grams. But yeah, that's the mittens, and then I still have one more in my bag. One more finished object. This is quite a recent one. It's a pair of socks. So let me something fluffy in there. Let me find the right page for these. So this pattern is called Shepherd's Socks. No, sorry, Shepherd's Daughter Socks by Louise O'Neill, and I made them in size 38. maybe medium in the pattern. I can't remember. I got the pattern as a prize. I'd taken part in a Ravelry competition, but I can't remember which one. But I got it for free. It's a paid for pattern. I'm sorry, I didn't check how much it costs. But 2.5 millimeter US size 1.5 needles is what I use for these. They are toe up socks with not your conventional increases in the toe. I'm not sure if it's gonna focus. It focuses on me. But yeah, a little different kind of increases in the toe, and then you start doing a motif pattern on the top of your foot, and then the sole, of course, is plain stockinette with some increases in the heel, and then a normal heel turn. And I think this was a slip stitch pattern here in the heel flap, and then you start doing a motif on both sides of the leg, and then just a little bit of ribbing one by one, and a tubular cast off or bind off, which in my opinion looks very nice. I don't like the look of Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off the way I managed to do it. But I didn't mention the yarn yet. I have the ball band somewhere here. It's also something that I got for free because I entered a Giddy Yarns project in Giddy Yarns Knit Along, which is like going on all the time, all year round. When you make something at least 50% Giddy Yarns, you can enter it in the dyer's thread on Ravelry, and she pulls in winners quarterly, maybe, well, on regular intervals. So this is Giddy Yarns Merino Socke yarn, Merino Nylon Socke yarn, and the colorway is called Rock and Roll, and they're really nice. Haven't worn them yet, as you can see, but they are my size, and I will probably keep them for myself. Yes, that's the pile I had with me now. So I had this beanie pattern in my queue for quite a while. I found it, well, as I was browsing Ravelry at some point. I liked it, but I just didn't start knitting it at that moment. And somewhere or sometime this spring, I'd finished something, and then I thought that, okay, maybe I'll do the beanie now. So I took a yarn that I'd gotten somewhere. It's this Drops Cotton Merino. It's not focusing, is it? Well, but anyway, it is. You can see it a bit. So Drops Cotton Merino wool, or yarn. It has 52% wool, 48% cotton, and it's a 50 gram skein with 120 meters in the ball or skein, which means that it has 240 meters in 100 grams. That's sport, is it? I think that's a sport. Wait. Oh, the pattern is for fingering weight, I think. But, you know, I just wanted to try it to see how it looks. And so I grabbed a pair of needles, which was too small for that yarn, but I didn't want to, you know, I just grabbed what I somehow just got in my hands, which is why the result, the beanie, it's quite small. I have a small ball inside here, but it's very nice. So the pattern is called Virtauksia. It's by Tiina, a Finnish designer. And I used 3.0 millimeter needles in here. That's US size 2.5. And well, first of all, because the needles were too small for the yarn, it's not very it's not stiff, but it's not as relaxed, or the drape or whatever isn't as good as it could be if the needles had been more or better suited for this weight of yarn. I mean, you can stretch it, but it is not a big beanie. I'd say a toddler size, baby or toddler size. I don't have anybody in my vicinity who has a head of this size, and I'm going to donate it somewhere. But the pattern itself is really nice. Looks really pretty, and it was a nice little project to make in between different projects that I'd been making and wanted to make. So yeah, nothing more to say about that. You start from here. I made, can't really see here, I think I used the Chinese waitress cast on, which is the one that you do with a crochet hook, and yeah, you start from here and then you do number repeats, and then you do the crown decreases. Maybe you can see a little bit like that. Yeah, that's a beanie that I made at some point this spring. And then I don't know if I even mentioned, maybe I didn't. I guess I forgot to tell that I found a rabbit hole to jump into. I think I forgot to tell. Yeah, I'm gonna say it now. So yes, I think it was towards the end of May somewhere. I stumbled upon a Facebook post on one of the knitting groups that I am in on Facebook. And they were saying that, oh, it's almost, the last days that you can sign up for the Super Socke World Championships, a knitting competition. And I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. I could do that. And I made the qualifying socks. Maybe I said this already. Anyway, so I found that rabbit hole and I just jumped into it. And this is my lap one. This is my lap one pair for the Super Socke World Championships. This pattern is called Let's Roll. It's by Zoe Sphere, and I used some 2.5 millimeter, that's US size 1.5 needles. I'm thinking if I did it, yes, I made these one at a time. Yeah, I did. I really did. So I used my Cubics. Is it Knit Pro? I think it is. Knit Pro Cubics 2.5 millimeter. And I knit these one at a time. They're cuffed down. There's a little bit of color work in here for the bike. And then you start doing helical knitting on multiple yarns, and I used 3 yarns in here. The heel is done in one of the 3 colors, and you could have used the same color as in here, but I didn't. I wasn't 100% sure if I had enough of the green, so that's why I made the heel in this sort of a brown, variegated brown or something color, and then I made the toe in the 3rd color, so in this yellow, which is the bike color. And the yarns, I have them in a bag. So I started with this one. They're all scraps. So this is how much I have left. It is Lanitium Ex Machina yarn. I have the tag in here. So Lanitium Ex Machina, it's Merino bamboo sock. 60% superwash merino, 25% bamboo, and 15% nylon. And this colorway is called Thunderbird. And I made something out of it before, and I used a whole lot of it for the socks. That's where I started. The yellow is just Novita Venla, and it's 75% wool, 25% polyamide, 420 meters in 100 grams, and the Lanitium was 400 meters. And then the 3rd color is this one. It's an Austermann step. It's a German yarn. This is so it's a self-patterning, and I've used it before in something else, a pair of socks. This is 25% superwash virgin wool, 25% polyamide, and it has about 420 meters in 100 grams. And that's what I used for the socks. And no, this is the qualifier sock. No, it's not. I've marked it that these are the qualifier socks. Oh, yes, they are. Getting my projects all mixed up. Yes, this is the qualifier sock for the competition. So, so I'd heard about it on Facebook, and I just rushed in and signed up for it. And yeah, I'm in in the team Lentavalapanen. Lentavalapanen is a yarn store in Järvenpää, where I'm from originally. And yeah, so yeah, now I'm just remembering. So this is the qualifier sock. So I wasn't in a more of a hurry to get them done, because we had several weeks, I'd say maybe a month, 4 weeks to finish a pair. And I finished mine in I don't know how long, but then I blocked them, and then I took some more or less nice photos of them in my feed, and that's what I have on Ravelry. And yeah, So the color work uses ladders. I've tried that before. Actually, this one is the second sock, I think. No, I can't remember which one was which. Anyway, one is tighter than the other. So you use the ladder technique, or I. Oh yeah, that's the starting yarn. I haven't haven't woven it in because I started with a slip knot when I was doing this. But yeah, so you use ladders. This one is sort of stretchy, but it's kind of, it's not tight. I can get it on my foot, but it's tighter than the other one. And I think this was the second because I was sort of afraid that I was doing it too tightly. So this one is not at all as neat as you can see from the tires of the bike, but it is very stretchy as opposed to the other one. So if I put them like this, you can see that the looser one is a bit wider, and I can't stretch this more, but I can stretch the other one. So I do have more give in this version. Like I've said before, color work is not really my cup of tea, and I think you can see sort of the reason in here. I like the look of this one. It is neater, but then this one actually is more practical because it's easier to get it on your foot. I don't know if it's different when you're doing bigger color work, like in a sweater, where if it's not like really fitted, it's not as important if you can really, because the one thing with your socks is that you have to get it over your heel. That's where it's like where your foot is needs more or the most room where you're putting on a sock. And if it's very tight, then it's very difficult to get it over your heel. And of course, sweaters don't have that. I don't have a huge head, and yeah, my arms aren't just this wide, so it's not a problem in a sweater. But I don't think I've ever knit a sweater with any color work. If I remember correctly. But yes, so still not a fan of color work. My ladders are fine, but as they say in The Simpsons, funny but not ha funny. So it's okay, but not great in a way. I think that's all. I mean, yes, I have finished my last or the first lap of the Super Sock World Championships. I finished them earlier this week, but I didn't have time to block them, and they're drying still. So they're on the blockers and they're a little damp, and I didn't want to take them here before they're dry and look as nice as they can. It's a very nice, pretty pattern, and I will show it to you in the next episode. And then, as I said, I do have a work in progress, or two. Let's say works in progress. Can't remember how many exactly, but yeah, I'll show them to you some other time because this episode will be long enough, even without any more of works in progress, or even the last finished one that I have done or finished just a few days ago. I have one more that I was gonna talk about. I'll turn the page. I have finished a pair of socks for my niece. I've told you I have 3 of them. One of them had her birthday in April, and I showed you I've recorded a video somewhere in April, and I showed you the socks then. I have another niece whose birthday is in June, and I knit her another pair of socks. Do I have the rest of the yarn in here? Let's see. So I recorded a small video, but I didn't talk anything. It wasn't easy. Well, it just wasn't a good place. But yes, I have the yarn that I used. This is the same yarn I used for my other niece, the one that had her birthday in April. So it is House Neulelanka Onni, which is something that is that you can find in grocery stores here in Finland. It's 75% wool, 25% polyamide, 200 meters in 100 grams. So it's the same weight as Novita Veljestä, but it's a different brand. Is it made in Finland? I don't know. Does it say? No, probably not. I don't know. Oh, you're not interested in that. But the socks, I hope that I'll be able to insert a video here, because I did take a bit of video from the socks. So the pattern is called Temperance Socks. It's a free of charge pattern on Ravelry. It's by Jutta Maria, and I knit her size 38 socks. She has the same size feet than I do, so it was easy to try and get the right size. I guess her calves are slender than mine, so I didn't really try and get them up all the leg straight, but I used my 4.0 millimeter, that's US size 6 DPNs, and I knit them one at a time. I was doing these one at a time, but then there was the shepherd's daughter socks that I knit 2 at a time on Magic Loop. Digressing, sorry. So yeah, I used the Onni yarn, and the pattern is really like, you got a lot of cables in there, and the end result is really nice. And it was enjoyable. I was watching podcasts while I was knitting them, and I think they look pretty nice. And she was very, very happy to get them. I sent them to her by post or by some sort of a courier, bus company courier. But she got them already, and she sent me a message saying that they fit her really well. It's a thick yarn and it's summer, but I decided that this year all my nieces will get socks made out of that particular yarn. Like I said, I have something that I've already finished, and I have something on my needles, but I'll show them in another episode at some point of maybe still during this summer. But we're we're having quite a heat wave here in Finland right this minute. The temperature is about plus 30. I'll put it on the screen what it is in Fahrenheit, but that's in centigrade. I like it as long as I don't really have to do anything, because it is very hot to like be doing any manual work, like a very physical work. I have already burnt an elbow and and an ankle yesterday, so that's why I'm wearing my t-shirt that I made last summer, which covers the elbow. No, not elbow, shoulder. It's called a shoulder. But yeah, that's the one I burned yesterday. So I'll go and get some sunscreen from the store today, and I'll be more careful. Today I've been staying inside, and I'll continue to do that before I get the sunscreen, and maybe the sun will be quite as harsh as it is right now. But yeah, wherever you are, I hope you're enjoying yourself. If you're on vacation, I hope you get a lot of rest and relaxation. I'm planning to do that. I'll be off work until August 8 or something. So yeah, I don't have a lot of plans, mostly just, enjoying myself, and yeah, I do feel that I need a little bit of rest from last year, and nothing that a little bit of summer vacation won't cure, let's say. Okay, have a great time. I'll see you whenever I see you next. Bye.
Hyvä viisi. Hieno hyvä. Joo.